Good evening, afternoon, everybody. I always say the wrong thing. I don't know why. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Bite Size Branding live show. Very excited for today's show. Always have some great featured guests and my co-host Grant Tom joining me from Melbourne. Thank you very much. And today we have our special guest, Greg Smith, who comes to us from Send Handwritten Cards, which is a great, innovative product or service that is really taking it back to something that was maybe historically seen not to be or to be a very effective way of getting in front of people, and Greg Smith and the team, they're bringing it back in a whole new way. So excited to have him on a show because we love bringing the old back into the new, and we love how people innovate on concepts in markets. So pumped to have you here. Thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Have you ever done anything like this before? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not going to marry you. No.
Before we jump into it, I'm going to flick it over to Grant. Grant, tell everyone how the show is going to work today.
Hi, everyone, and welcome, Greg. Yeah, well, my name is Grant Tom, and I'm known as the head fire starter of the marketing and advertising industry. And what that means is customers and clients come to me with a view to generate ideas that is great value for their business, for their brand, and for their customers. And what I love about today's show is that I started in direct mail, and I believe that direct mail has always been the best feature in getting instant response and recognition. So once again, the better person to speak about it, the subject is, of course, Greg Smith. And I'm very excited to unbundle what these questions are all about. Once again, the show is normally 5 minutes per segment, but when we bring a guest on, it's 2 extra minutes, so it's 7 minutes. So just so that Bernard and I can interrupt and budge in and just add in a little bit of more challenging questions along the way. But anyway, be that as it may, I know that Greg has got the show completely handled because he knows the subject extremely well. So welcome, Greg. Welcome to the show, and welcome to everyone else.
Thanks, Grant.
I don't think there's much that's going to throw Greg this show. I don't think there's anything we can throw at him that he's not going to have the perfect, valuable answer that he's going to throw in there. Greg, thank you so much for joining us. And before we kick into any other questions, do you want to give everyone like a couple of minutes to understand a little bit more about what Send Handwritten Cards does?
And mini little correction there, Bernard. It's Send Handwritten. It turns out that we're not a card company, although we do help our clients with handwritten, wax-sealed, beautifully designed mail. We're not even a marketing company, although we help our clients with their marketing. We're really on about understanding our client and who they are, and then amplifying their genius and getting them the leads and the client retention and the attention that they deserve because they're an expert in their own space.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to how we actually unbundle. It's a word that Grant loves, and I use it all the time now, actually, Grant. But how we unbundle that more and give people a real insight into what you do. Without further ado, before I speak any more, and then Grant cuts me off, let's jump into the first question. You ready to rumble?
Go for it.
Cool. So I know as one of the components that you guys work with is you do quite a bit of work in LinkedIn. And I've put a lot of energy into my LinkedIn, but even still, there's always a little bit more, and everyone has a slightly different perspective and approach to how to use LinkedIn. I was wondering for this first question, if you could give everyone a little bit more insight into what they should be looking at doing with their LinkedIn as they come into 2023, and how they can be more effective in that space. Ready to rumble?
Yeah.
Let me just get this. See, I used my eyes this time. Way easier.
That's great. So the start of my thinking when it comes to LinkedIn, Bernard, is that if we Google ourselves, we go looking for what Google says about us, what will come up is our LinkedIn profile. And if our LinkedIn profile is not optimized, then it's the equivalent of having a retail shop front with a neon light that will give you, dangerous ticks because it's blinking inappropriately. Your retail windows have got some old newspaper taped to the inside of them, and the bell's lying on the ground behind the door. The people that will then go into your shop front are those that already know you. They know that that's an Aladdin's cave, and they will go in anyway. If your shop front, though, is pristine, it's presented professionally and beautifully, and it mimics who you are as a human being, not so much as, you know, everybody's got a role tattooed on their forehead. If you're CEO or business development manager, you know, who cares? You. That's about it. So show up as a human being as best you can with a pristine LinkedIn optimized profile. And the things that we work with our clients to optimize is their LinkedIn banner. We want to see their eyes in their photo. We want the 30-second video behind their their LinkedIn profile image. We want their 10 seconds of audio. We want to then go down their profile, and there's a whole bunch of things that subliminally we go looking for. We go looking for prettiness in terms of a well filled out feature section. We don't want those little grey boxes everywhere. And then the about section is really crucial. Put your hand up if you'd like to be somebody else's lead.
Yeah.
Put your hand up if you'd like to do business with a real human being that you can build a long-term healthy relationship with. So the about section needs to be written in first person. It's not a resume. Please, if you've got a resume, change it. Hi, I'm Greg Smith. I'm crazy. What I help you with is, one sentence. And the reason that I do that is this, and why it matters at this point in history is this, and here's how an impact can be created for you, your business, and the dreams that you had when you started your business. And the final section that our eyes get drawn to is the recommendation space. So if you've got no social credibility, if your last recommendation, like a client I was working with this morning, was in 2015, you're invisible. The algorithm won't find you, as well as it will find Grant's profile, who's had a LinkedIn recommendation, some social credibility in the B2B space, every month for the last 18 months. It's there. Like, he's regularly showing up, and the algorithm amplifies you, if you're active and, got those parts of your profile optimized.
So does that mean the content that's posted by those profiles are preferred over less active or less, updated profiles?
Yeah, that's right. So when you do that content strategy, when you enact that, the algorithm pays you preferential treatment, if you like, and will open your content to more and more people based on how active you are on LinkedIn, how optimized your profile is, and what other people are saying and engaging with.
Wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's how the algorithm worked in LinkedIn. We often do discuss that with clients as well. And it's so funny to see how many of them haven't really done anything like that. They're happy to post and comment and engage on content every now and then, but they don't actually proactively work on their own profiles. And that, now knowing very clearly that actually impacts the way that people get to view or consume your content.
Yeah.
So Greg, what must you be doing on the site then on a regular basis to stay up to date? What is the tips and tricks from a week or a monthly execution? What much should you be doing there?
So don't quote me on the exact figures, because I'm not at the cutting edge. The basic figures, or the rounding of the figures, are that 95% of people on LinkedIn are content consumers. 5% are content creators and deliverers, and a small portion of those 5% are the influencers, the people that show up with authority. If you would like to show up with authority, you optimize your profile, you have a clever, well-constructed messaging sequence to draw people to your world, you have an effective, consistent, metronomic content strategy. If you're in a space where you can leverage that content via, there's a few levers, and I don't know who the listeners are, but there's a few levers that you can use that LinkedIn may or may not appreciate. But the more eyeballs that you can get on your work, the more comments that you can have happen, the more interactivity. LinkedIn is going to reward that, because they want people to stay on the LinkedIn platform. They don't want you buzzing off to somebody else's website, calendar link, whatever it happens to be. Yeah. So it's a combination of optimized profile, clever connection strategy, and content strategy.
Do you believe, like, something that I do hear people say, they talk often about how flooded that space is. Do you think there's still a lot of room for growth in LinkedIn? Just because, like, from our knowledge as well, the ad spend is more expensive. The engagement, like, people don't really go on there proactively like they would Facebook, or passively even like they would on Facebook, on Instagram. Do you think there's still a lot of opportunity for that in LinkedIn?
Bernard, I signed a $25,000 client recently out of a cold outreach in LinkedIn. Do I
Wow.
think that there's validity in having a LinkedIn strategy? For me, yes. If you're selling hamburgers, no.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
true that.
it's horses for courses.
Courses.
Do I think there's value in Twitter and Facebook and TikTok and all of those other platforms? Quite possibly, but I am not going to put my hand up and say that our team are experts in there. We happen to have focused where there's 850 million other business people around the world, 12 million or so in Australia. That's where I want to play, where the decision makers in business seem to me to hang out.
What a bell.
Yeah, what a...
Okay.
Well, you preferred the old one.
No, I don't actually.
That was a great way of wrapping it up, though.
Yeah.
Like, true to facts, right? 12 million business owners. You want to play where the people play, and in this space, being B2B or in a service space, it's hard to get the eyeballs on you, and like you said, and it's something that we have tried and tested and are very aware of in our space as well, that if you want to sell hamburgers, go to somewhere that people are engaging. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Do a TikTok, something that's edutaining. But still,
yeah, I want to see Grant do the wiggle. Yeah.
We got some funny content coming out that features Grant, I think, in the near future.
Yeah, we do.
Keep an eye out. But yeah, look, I don't have anything else to really add. Grant, did you want to? Yeah.
I think from my perspective, what I learned out of this session of the show is the fact that, LinkedIn is not for everyone, but it is for the professional market. And if you are wanting to if your customer or your profile is talking to professionals, then this is the area that you need to hone in. Not to say that other platforms are less effective. It all comes down to your makeup and your requirement as to your game plan as to how you wish to roll out. What I think is important here is that we find the method that works for you, with you to be able to fish with a net rather than with a rod. And I think this is what's very important.
Yeah.
I love that. Fish with a net, not with a rod.
So come back in 12 months' time, and I might be saying that I'm TikToking all over the place, and I've left LinkedIn behind. But at the moment, our preferred poison when it comes to social media for us and our clients who are B2B, as a general rule, is the LinkedIn space.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
okay.
And that's actually, that's what we find too. So it's nice to see. Like, it's always good to work with other industry professionals and see those synergies and those harmonies there, because it's a very fickle space. It's always evolving. It's always changing. So
yes.
you can't sit on your laurels, as they say, and just hope the same thing you did last year keeps working this year.
And I say it's like painting the Harbour Bridge. You just get your profile optimized and you think it's schmick, and they've released half a dozen new possibilities and new things to do, and you go back and you start all over again. And
start again. Yeah. How do you use the new tool? Who's it targeting? How can you be strategic with it, etc., etc.? And there's a lot of trial and error. I think I read this quote the other day, and I won't be able to quote it verbatim because I can't remember it exactly, but essentially it said marketing is a test. You market in a space that you see how it works, and then you refine and you refine and you refine and you refine. You don't just wake up one day and then it happens straight away. And some people get lucky. They build a video and it happens to go viral, but those are the unicorns. And when you look over the entire space, have millions of people creating content. How many of them actually leading the content space? Not that many. And that's the misnomer. Everyone always looks at the unicorn and say, I want to be like the unicorn. I want to be like the unicorn. But it's a unicorn for a reason. It's not, everyone can't do it,
And in part answer to your question about, Greg isn't, say, LinkedIn, like name the social platform, but in LinkedIn, isn't it a very busy space? Yeah, it is a very busy space. So for goodness me, stop showing up like a damn corporate. We don't care. Nobody is interested. What we want to do is to know that Greg has a wicked sense of humor. He's a bit crazy. He trades in dad jokes, and those dad jokes have made millions of dollars for his clients. That's the real human being. And then when you jump on a call with Greg, you go, oh,
It's
that
exactly
matches.
like that. Yeah, that guy
that
makes
matches.
yeah.
Yeah, and if you're intriguing or you are mysterious or if you are generous or however it is that you prefer to show up, and that's why, your LinkedIn banner, in our world needs to be creative. I've got a couple of upside down cockatoos on my LinkedIn banner, That's what's there. And it tells a story visually immediately.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, but we're going to come to that. We're going to come to the creative part.
It just is that the next question? Is that the next question you want to run with? No, you want to run with that one? Okay, cool.
Are we opening the doors?
Yes, sir. Yes, boss. Yes, boss. I thought I was like, oh, do you want to flip the questions? Okay. So the next question is, and a little bit more on I guess both sides. This can kind of align with LinkedIn, but also the other channels in which you guys master your strategies in. How do you identify those right fit doors for your client and help them get through those doors? You mentioned a little bit around LinkedIn and that you got somebody through a direct mail, a cold direct mail there. But how do you use all your different channels, and how have you found them to be effective in targeting the right person?
For your clients, how do you find your clients right fits?
Oh,
how do I find my clients?
How does he find his right fit? How does he find his client's client? Yeah, okay, cool. Okay. Great. There was a lot of clarification there. I'll blame myself for that one. But yes, now all to you, Greg.
So the question is, how do we help our clients identify and then find the clients that they would like the attention of?
Yes.
First step in that process is to get clarity around who our client is. What it is that they get out of bed to do every day, get clear on the impact that they want to have, and seek clarity on the nature of that human being so that we can identify, if you like, not so much a piece of data, but so we can identify the heart or the style of heart and mind that we would like to engage with. So let's call that, for the sake of this conversation, let's call that the avatar. So once the client knows who they are, they know the impact that they want to have, then we start digging more deeply into, well, where is the person that you would like to have that impact on? What industry are they in? What role are they in? And why does your work, the impact that you want to have, matter to them now? Where is the likely resonance? And the likely resonance, anybody in the marketing space goes, well, you got to identify their pain, and then you stick a knife in and you twist it and you amplify the pain, and then you be the genius or the solution or the Panadol to that pain. I think there's another level in that whole process. And that other level has got something to do with generosity of spirit. It's got to do with edifying and advocating for and being appreciative of. And I think that is the piece that's missing in the relatively beige, boring, corporate modality of assuming that formality is the way to get attention. So just keep me on track here, Grant. Yeah. Ask the question again.
So the question is, how do you define and get your clients or get through the door to get their attention for your client?
Great. So we've identified that. I then have a data team around me who then go and seek, the data of that avatar. And then once we're clear on who the person is that we're working for and the identity, in inverted commas, of the avatar, then we get creative.
Okay.
If my client has a sense of humor, then we want to go to market with a clean, clever, appropriate sense of humor. So for me, that's a couple of upside down cockatoos, because last year we flipped the bird to last year, and we're flipping the bird to the way that we think about marketing. If I have a little example here on my desk, no surprise. This is a piece we did for the YMCA. So that is a map of their campsite in Sydney where they'd lost $500,000 worth of work. We wrapped that into an envelope. We put their logo into the wax seal. We put a compass on the inside. We wrote a nice handwritten note on the inside of that, and we branded it to the Y. None of our branding goes on this work. And the opening copy in that piece when we did it was, remember, they've just lost $500,000 worth of work over 18 months. The opening copy was, "Hi, Bernard. I've sent you a map and compass to help you find your way back to the YMCA. Where the bloody hell are you?"
Yeah.
That was a $4,000 investment, and we turned $700,000 for the client.
Wow.
So, it works. So, Grant, in answer to your creative question, there wasn't really a dad joke in the YMCA piece, but it worked because it was appropriate and clever for the client. And it was appropriate and clever for the people that we were looking for the attention of. And what happened, the target audience were decision makers in schools, and the gatekeepers admitted to our call team that they weren't really quite brave enough just to leave that sitting on their desk. They handed it on to the decision maker because it was different. It was different. It was handwritten and it was wax sealed. Like, what is this?
So I want to ask a quick question here, Greg. So when should clients be brave? Because not all clients are brave. And you come along with these great ideas. When should clients be brave? Because your methodology is about a little bit of that bravery with the view to get reaction.
Look, I don't know a non-brave entrepreneur. If you're in business, you're stark raving mad. Because it's a hard gig. And it requires tenacity and persistence and creativity and all of those qualities that we bring to the table as entrepreneurs, where our gift is to create something from nothing. That's what we do for the planet. So we're talking to a brave group of people anyway. To go the extra step and lean in and get a little bit edgy with the way that we get the attention of those decision makers, I reckon it's not a big step if we have found the right client for us. I'm talking send handwritten. If we've found the right client for us, they've already tried a whole bunch of things that haven't necessarily worked so well. They're ready to be a little bit crazy, a little bit edgy, a little bit different. Yeah. So don't know if I answered your question so well, but that's my response anyway.
It's definitely something that we spoke about earlier this year, and it's still in the books for something we want to engage in. There's something about, like, a lot of people say, direct mail is dead, and it was similar with printing. And I said to people, printing's not dead, just shit printing is dead. And it's the same for direct mail. It's not that direct mail is dead, it's just shit direct mail. Stop sending crappy letters and putting them into people's mailboxes and wondering why they don't open it. If you give something of interest.
Personalized, handwritten, cleverly designed and scripted, wax sealed mail is a digital disruptor, not the other way around.
But let me bring this in, is that I can give you two guarantees in life. One, you're going to die. Two, if I gave you an envelope or a box that was placed on your desk, you would open it. And that is just how it is. We are just intrigued to want to understand what's inside. And that's how it works.
It's the gift. It's the gift that keeps on giving. I don't know how you're going to answer the next question, because we kind of bled into that next question, but it's a good conversation starter and segue, because we do want to talk more about that creativity piece. So I'd love to hear some more examples, much like the Y example, of where you have broken through those doors or broken down those doors, and where you found it to be that more effective pathway into those businesses versus the digital space. We all know email back 10 years ago, you'd get a 60, 70, 80% open rate. These days, you'll be lucky to hit 20 or 30, and now you're messaging 7,000, 8,000 people just to get something in the tens, So what have you found to be some really successful campaigns, some cool ideas that have opened those doors that otherwise would be very much closed to a lot of people? And have you ever done this is a side question. Have you ever done lumpy mail? Like actually put something alongside those letters? Yeah. So let's talk more about that. The more creative, the better. I'll switch on that timer. I'm doing a blind. Look how good this is. This is the best I've ever done it. Look. I'm just look.
Yeah.
Mastered it. I have mastered it. After 60 shows, I've mastered. I think we're in the 70s now, actually. But I'll throw it to you, Greg. Yeah, give us some insights, some out of the box ideas that you guys have done.
Great, Bernard. If you wanted the attention of the C-suite at Red Bull in Sydney, what would you do?
Well, I would call you.
Okay, so let me take you out of the hot seat and I'll put me in the hot seat. We have a client who is an artist.
Yep.
And I'm not sure that if I can share my screen at the moment, so I'll describe this painting. I'm going to say it's a 2 meter by 3 meter painting of Toby Price, who won the Fink River Classic, sitting in his shed on the Gold Coast, completely decked out in Red Bull paraphernalia. Cool. This painting is stunning. It is an unbelievable piece of artwork. When the artist came to us, she said, Greg and my creative director, I want this painting hanging in the foyer at Red Bull. And we said, I won't use a name just in case, but we said, great, that is an unbelievable painting. Do you have Toby's permission to have painted it? She said, yes. We went, great. And then there was Red Bull, branding all over it. We said, great. Did you get Red Bull's permission? She went, nope. No. I went, okay. Doesn't matter. Let's try something. So we printed just 25 cards. We sent on one day 25 cards with this painting printed on the front of it, branded to the lady who was our client. And it just so happens she has a pet pig, right? With a photo of her and a pet pig on the back. Very, very creative stuff. We sent 25 in the post on one day. A week later, and knowing that my creative director's name was on the back of the card, not the client's, and his phone number. A week later, Andy's phone rang. It was, hi, could I speak to client, please? No, sorry, I'm client's agent. Oh, great. Who are you? It's I'll make it up. It's John here, director of motorsport at Red Bull. And he said, I knew you'd call. He said, how did you know? He said, you're calling about the painting, aren't you? He said, yes. He said, mate, do you understand what happened in the Red Bull office when that landed? And he said, no, but tell me anyway.
Yeah.
He said it was like watching a gopher show. Did you get one? Did you get one? What does yours say? How come I didn't get one? It created this mushroom cloud of energy. And the manager of motorsport said to Andy, why did you send it? And the manager of motorsport went, oh, damn. I just answered my own question. I rang you. There were 2 or 3 meetings between the artist and Andy and the client, the potential client. It turned out that headquarters in Austria pulled the pin on the project, so it never went through. The question was asked, though, how do we use creativity and clever messaging to get the attention of people that are otherwise busy and distracted?
Yeah,
that's an example.
Yeah.
You asked about lumpy mail a minute ago. I've got a client who's a digital marketing guru, and he came to us and he said, we've got to do more. We want to get some cut through. So we created a very, very clever, in my opinion, because we designed it, a very clever design for him, all based around we're not your average cookie cutter company in that space. We got some very, very narrow data. We sent one card to each of those. Let's say there was 100 people in the marketplace. A week later, we then posted a giant Byron Bay cookie. And then my call team here in Australia got on the phone and said, hi, Bernard, wondering if you could help me, please. And the answer was yes. Who are you? It's Gus here from XYZ company. Just wondering, did you get a giant Byron Bay cookie in the mail last week? And the responses varied from, you twit, I'm gluten intolerant. Why should you do such a thing? I fed it to the dog. To, yes, it's in my top drawer here and I'm hiding it from the kids. To, I had it for dessert last night with my wife. The point was, it was a conversation starter. It wasn't a pitch. 11% appointment rate came out of the design of that campaign.
Wow.
So LinkedIn, data, cards, calls. No need for texting or email on that particular example. The image on the wall behind me. You want to interrupt me, Grant?
No, carry on with your talk.
So the yak on the wall behind me, and here's a normal sized version. Lots of people have heard this story, I know, and a part of my team are going, "Oh, Greg, stop telling the yak story." But I love telling the yak story because it's easy to say, right? So we have a client. His name is Brendan. He's an accountant in Brisbane, and he doesn't mind me sharing this story. 3 years ago, he came to us and said, "Greg, I'm spending a fortune on digital marketing. Nothing is happening. What are you going to do? Smart, Alec." I went, "Great. Here's what we designed." I did not like this design when we saw it. I thought this was terrible, just awful. We experimented for 3 months. That's the image. The opening handwritten copy in there is, "Hi, Grant. Hope you don't mind my old school approach. I'd love to have a yak with you." The yak shows up in LinkedIn. The yak shows up in the mail. The yak shows up the second time in the mail. Sometimes the yak shows up on the telephone. The yak shows up in a text, with a handwritten note and the yak talking to the recipient, and the yak shows up in emails. At the end of month 2, the client rang me and he said, I hope you're sitting down. We've got a problem. And I went, "Oh, what have I done?" And he went, "I'm $1.4 million up on those first 200 cards and I need more staff." I went, "Great." We've used that image. He's now known as the Yak Man. We've used that image for 3 years, and every month it gets cut through.
Wow.
And what industry is he in for that card to have worked so well?
He started in the construction industry, so targeting the construction industry. General managers, CEOs, Southeast Queensland, turning over between this amount and that amount. Can't remember the details. We did that for a quarter. Then we flicked into another industry. At the moment, it's small manufacturing between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. Yeah, we just changes it every quarter.
Brilliant. That's I think that's the first time that Grant and I both agreed and said the exact same phrase at the exact same time. We both in unison said, "Brilliant." Grant, what do you think? We get Greg a call tomorrow and get a quote.
Look, I think that well, first of all, I've got to just say that was pure edutainment right there and then, because at the end of the day, getting educated and entertained is the best way of communication and getting people's attention. I think the second thing is that all businesses should really consider this angle to their business, because it is about human-to-human connection, connotation, conversion. And at the end of the day, any business that doesn't put this into their realm of laser marketing and strategic planning is losing out on opportunity of conversion. And I think, Greg, you're very unique in what you do, but at the same time, by no means is it old school. And I think that you're on the cutting edge of evolving this and bringing it back to the front, because I think creativity and targeting are the 2 key strategies that every business is requiring.
And I'm compelled to share, of course, that I'm going to share with you our big time wins. Do these campaigns sometimes fall flat? Yes, of course they do, which is why we want to wrap our arms around our clients and iterate and merge with other ideas and creativity and scripting and all, so that this is not a magic formula that works every time. The campaigns that work are the campaigns where our clients lean in, they get involved, they get engaged, and they do the nurturing that is required after we've got our pinky toe in the door for them.
Yeah, and that's the big thing around a lot of marketing initiatives that we hear, is that people expect a silver bullet. The leads will come in and convert themselves. Mate, you still got to work hard, if not harder, because now there's a lot more knocking on your door if the campaign is running right. So you got to have your processes in place for how you're going to support and nurture them through that process and onboard them. We always, like, the thing that I always learned from music is that people remember 2 things when you play a song. They'll remember the beginning and they'll remember how it ends. And if the beginning was great because the door opened, but the onboarding experience wasn't, they'll remember that. If the whole project didn't run exactly perfect, they'll have a vague idea of what did and didn't work well, but they won't remember the whole thing if the end comes out spectacular. And that's the thing that most people forget. They forget to bring somebody into the fold in a beautiful way and let them and finish up the project in a way that they're remembered. And this allows,
Greg, I wanted to ask you in connection with the marketing campaign that you ran. So I know the gentleman that you're referring to that you did the campaign for, but at the same time, what was the size of that mail that you had sent out for the marketing guy?
For the marketing guy, or for the Yak? Is that
the
Yak
one
campaign?
before the Yak, you sent out the Byron Bay cookie.
Oh yes. So what's now that I know who you're talking about?
What was the size of the campaign?
So I know the size of the campaign. What was the size of the mail that you had sent out for that 11% response?
It was might have been between 150 and 200 in total before he changed tack and he went off in a slightly different direction. Sure. In actual fact, now that you know that, gentlemen, and this is the interesting thing about humanity, is that he wasn't happy with a 11% appointment rate. His expectation was that it would be a 15% appointment rate, and we tweaked and we changed and we moved and shook on his behalf. And while we did the right thing, he's actually leveraged a very powerful alternative for his business, alternative channel to market, which is getting him, that 15% or more that he's looking for.
Yeah.
Can I compete with that? No, because I'm not that persona. I'm not that personality. And he's been in business a very long time doing what he's very, very good at.
Sure. And it's like you said, it's not going to work for everybody. It's not going to fit everyone's business model. If you're selling hamburgers, this is not going to be a right fit for you. If you're selling a service and have good targeting, I think what worked really effectively in the Yak campaign is you target sector by sector. And I'm assuming, did you also adjust your messaging sector to sector as well?
We didn't tweak that one so much. Now, remember, that's 3 years old, that campaign, and our client is an accountant, and he's a little bit immovable in terms of his own creativity. And he just made the decision that he wanted that to stay the same. And every time I've checked in with him on that topic, he says, "Don't fix it if it ain't broke."
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
awesome. That was a great show. Grant, do you any last words before we wrap it up?
Well, look, first of all, I think with the 3 questions and just the unbundling of that knowledge, the show has just flown by. We're at the end. At the end of the day, I think that the go home piece here is that business owners need to be a little bit brave, because if you believe in what you do and believe in what you're doing for the customers that you are supplying to and the problems that you're solving, you deserve to be brave, and therefore just be a little bit more creative.
Look, sorry, Greg, did you want to?
I just had a thought. I don't know how long we've got, but we've been talking internally and asking ourselves the question, and we're asking the question of our clients and prospects as well. What are you experiencing on the planet at the moment in your part of the planet? Like, what's going on for you? Now, these are long conversations and they get a little bit deep, not metaphysical, but a little bit deep. But let's assume for the moment that part of that messaging or part of the sensation that people are getting at the moment is that there's this underlying level of uncertainty and anxiety. In Australia, we've had bushfires, we've had COVID, we've had floods, and we don't know what's going to happen next. And we feel like we're walking on sand here, not on good, solid ground. And we are seeing ourselves positioned in the marketplace to take the lead and say to the community that we're building around us, you know what you can be sure about? That I'm good to my word, and even if I muck something up, I'm going to reconcile that, and you can trust the fact that my word is gold. It's unshakable. And that level of certainty builds trust, it builds loyalty, and then it allows us to leverage this concept of Web 3.0. 3.0 is all about the internet of everything. We're saying to our clients, great, that's a means goal, not an end goal. The point of Web 3.0 is not Web 3.0. The point of Web 3.0 is 10 years down the track, 20 years down the track, and let's call it Web 3.H. And that's where humanity really gets to shine. And you know what? It's going to be messy. It's going to be broken. It's going to be imperfect. Thank God, because that's how humanity is. And that's the exciting part of where we're playing at the moment. I'm not a perfect carbon unit. I've made more mistakes in my life than I've had hot dinners. But when I get my arms around my tribe, be it my family, you know, my clients, whoever it is, nobody would ever accuse me of not being good to my word. Making mistakes, yes. Being forgetful and lazy, yes. But not deliberately being untrue to my word. So if you say you're going to ship it, ship it. If you're going to turn up, turn up. If you're going to email it, email it. That's where that's what's going on the planet at the moment. My job, this human carbon unit and soul, is put here to create some certainty of human relationship and connection. That's the game. So are we a card company? No. Are we a marketing company? No. We're an amplifier of the human spirit, and we've just got this vehicle that we've landed on to attempt to achieve that.
Mate, you are an amplified human spirit. That was fantastic. Thank you so much for all that information, all that insight. That show was a blitz. I can't even believe it. It's almost 5 o'clock now. I'm like, wow, that just went by so quick. Thank you so much, Greg, for joining us. Thank you, Grant, as always, for supporting the show. Everybody who's listening, please like, comment, share. Let us know if there are guests, even you, Greg. If you know some people you think might be crazy enough to come on the show, let us know. We're always looking for exciting people to feature, and controversial themes, controversial concepts to unbundle on the show. Grant always likes to get his hands dirty with a crazy concept. So if you have something in mind that you'd like us to unbundle, we always dig deep and get all the important information out. And thank you everyone for joining us. Grant, did you want to throw something else in there?
Controversial as well. I think we like controversy. Yeah. So I like a little bit of a challenge. So yeah,
Grant definitely does. Yeah, if you can get Grant riled up, he's a happy man. Awesome, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next show. See you later.
Greg.
Thank you, Jens. Okay.